we'll be talking to you guys, outlining the different types of schools and help you with the process of selection. So I'll be focusing on 4-year versus 2-year, and we'll be doing private version. Just a quick definition. 4-year schools will usually offer you guys a more powerful education and more like profound experience as far as the whole 4 years would go. Whereas it's somewhat more of a burden on your time and your money. A 2-year school may offer you like somewhat of a less powerful education and experience, but it's also much, much lighter on your time and your pocket. So just to explain to you 4-year schools, this type of education will offer you much more broad classes and many different interests and things like that. So if you have broad interests, if you want to try different things, dance classes, things like that, 4-year schools are going to be much more prone to do that. However, usually during the last 2 years of your 4-year education, that's when you start to specialize, you'll pick your major, and you'll start to focus more on exactly what you want to do. The cost, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, will usually run you about $12,000 with $5,351 in tuition and $6,757 in room and board. This is an average of you considering in-state tuition and things such as that. And just an interesting fact, those with a bachelor's degree coming out of 4-year school will usually earn around $12,000 more than those who don't go to college at all and just have their high school education. And this is probably the biggest difference between the 2-year and the 4 years, the extracurricular opportunities. There's going to be multiple media performances between bands and a cappella groups, acting performances, things such as that. And then also Greek life, you're going to have lots of sororities and fraternities on campus that you can join, social types of clubs, alumni friends, things such as that. Sports clubs, sports and clubs, excuse me. Sports, usually you won't find at the 2-year university, so you'll find a lot of varsity level to intramural, all types of different types of sports in the 4-year schools. And clubs, you're going to offer clubs with many different interests, so whatever you have an interest in, you usually can find a club. I mean, there's a plethora of clubs here, so I can't even imagine how many clubs. Clinical internships. This is also a big difference. Usually, since the education that you receive from the 4-year school is a little bit more powerful in the job market, you'll have a lot more offers of internships when you come out of the 4-year school. There's usually going to be more kids in a 4-year school, so the competition is still there, but you'll also have a lot more internships to choose from. And then switch gears to the 2-year school. There's 2 options that you can take when you go to a 2-year school, depending on your plan. If you're planning on going there and then transferring to a 4-year school, they offer a lot of general courses that are transferable, credits that you can take into other schools so that you can start your career off in the 2-year and then move to the 4-year. If your plan is just to go through the 2-year, they'll be very specialized. You'll work on certain different types of trades, things such as that. So it kind of depends on your career preferences. But 2-year schools will really focus you into that one job in the 2 years and a lot of specialized courses. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the average cost of tuition and fees, not room and board, is 1/3 of the cost of a 4-year school at the 2-year school, which is another big difference. As far as extracurricular opportunities, as I mentioned before, really not a very good choice of sports. Usually there's none at all. As far as social groups and clubs, same kind of thing. They really don't offer that. It's somewhat of just the education, not the experience. As far as internships and apprenticeships, there will be certainly plenty offered as far as because you're going right into the job market, you have a trade, you're very specialized. However, the type of education usually isn't as powerful in the job market, so there won't be as many available. That's all from me. I'm going to turn it over to Mike to tell you about private and public.
Hi guys, I'm Mike, and I'm going to go over the difference between private versus public colleges. So what defines a private and public college? Private college is not government funded. All the money is raised by tuition payments of people there and alumni donations. Public colleges receive money from the state and the federal government to fund whatever it is they're doing. Some of the main differences on tuition, public colleges are generally less expensive. And there's an in-state tuition investment. So if you're going to apply to a public college in the state that you live in, you're going to get a couple $1,000s off your tuition because you're Campus size, public colleges usually enroll more students. For example, Penn State and University Park enrolls 40,000 undergraduate students, and Pitt and Pittsburgh University enrolls 34,000 compared to college at Penn that enrolls 10,000 students. Satellite campuses, these usually offered by the main big state universities. But it gives you the experience of a public college with less students and less tuition. For example, Penn State has satellite campuses in Erie, Altoona, and Brandywine. Not many private colleges offer these. Class sizes, public colleges, classes are usually larger. I mean, this varies. You can take a small course like a Spanish or a writing seminar, it's usually going to be small. But in terms of lectures, your lecture at a public college is going to be significantly larger than a private college. And more classes are taught by TAs or teacher assistants, because a lot of the professors in a public college are there to do research, not so much to teach. And there's going to be more professors available in a private college. For scholarships, public colleges have less scholarship dollars available to give to students, and more students being enrolled makes the dollars even harder to obtain. So you really have to make yourself stand out in whatever it is you're going to do to obtain the scholarship. Probably best not to rely on a scholarship from the public college.